Hello, everyone, and welcome down to episode 66 of the Down South Photo Show in 2023. We're back for 2023. 2023, is that how we're saying it? No,
2020,
just 2023 will do. That's fine.
202.3.
Something like that.
Yeah, that'd be a good way to
with
do it.
me, Brendan Waits, here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, Australia, and the gentleman on the other screen, or in your other ear if you are listening to us, it's Cam Blake in Hobart Town, Tasmania. Hello, Cameron.
No, I'm on 13th Beach, mate. Look.
You are.
Yeah.
You are. We've got a lot to unpack in this episode about you being in my stomping ground.
Boy, oh boy, we do. But yes, I am well. How are you? You're going up. Like I said before, we haven't seen each other for at least, 3 days or something?
3 days.
It feels weird.
That's right. It does. It feels bizarre to be seeing you back on the screen again and like nothing really happened. Did it even happen the last week or so?
I don't know. I tell you what, though, your intro was spot on. You haven't lost it over the Christmas break.
No. See, I actually listen back to them. I just sit there. Put my headphones on, listen back through old episodes.
Here's a question for you without notice.
Go on.
Do you go and listen to our own podcast?
So I normally listen to it so I can pick up if it's coming across okay technically.
Yep.
So I'll be driving between my shops like Torquay and Ocean Grove, and if I've got absolutely nothing else to listen to, then I'll pop it on just to make sure it's still sounding okay. And to be perfectly honest, I think we need to up our technical ability with our microphones and stuff, but we'll talk about that another time.
I think my mic sounds good.
No, it's fine. It's okay, but it could be a lot better from both of us. So
right. Start on a negative. Great.
Some feedback. That's not negative. It's just feedback. It's constructive criticism about our own podcast.
That's what they call a shit sandwich, isn't it?
Thanks to everyone who has subscribed over the festive season. Welcome aboard. And thanks to everyone who continues to support the Down South Photo Show by tuning in and looking at us on the tubes and listening to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all the other ones that I'm not going to name right now. We're on all of them. And also, thanks to everyone who shares us around. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, shared around like shared around.
Yeah,
that's great.
That's right.
That is good to be shared around.
Let's start where we, because it's going to lead into the entire podcast, and we're going to start with our backgrounds as we normally do. By the way, if you're looking at me going, you look really badly lit, Brendan, it's because we're recording this during the day, which is bizarre. We don't normally do
world.
We don't normally do that, and so my lighting in here is terrible during the day. So bad luck. This is how you're going to see me. That's just
you've got a sheen off your forehead, but that's okay.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. Do you want me to fix that with a cap?
You've actually had a bit of a skull cleanup as well. Have you like a haircut?
Did it myself. What do you think?
Not bad. Yeah.
Talents.
We are recording this during the day. This is unusual for us, but I put the idea out there, and Brendan said, "Yeah, let's do one during the day." So here we are.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't stop us from having a cold beverage as it is.
No, well, I've been working on my car the last hour and a half. I put one of those roller tub things on my car, and then how you can have a tent on the back of your ute. One of those frames as well. I think Ash Hughes has been inspiring me to get on the road and just disappear.
Absolutely.
But of course, I put it on. It doesn't work properly, and it's
there. You go. Ash, 3 minutes in, and you get a mention already in 2023.
He doesn't listen, so that's okay.
He is listening with open ears because the man's on holidays.
I heard a rumor that he's on this little island I'm on at the moment.
He is. He's on the small island. Anyway, our backgrounds. Cameron, let's start with yours because that's generally what we normally do.
Yeah. So mine, I'm going to see if this works. It does. Look at that. Mine was taken on the second night of our inaugural Down South photo show workshops.
This is a mouthful, I know. It's hard
tell
to
me
get
about
that out.
This is 13th Beach. So this is just before the sun dipped below the horizon when we had the group out there and we're looking at, landscapes within landscapes, looking at the light changing, using our polarizers to get that beautiful gleam off the sand and water there. And I just like the set of stairs there with a bit of a haze on them. So this is a long lens. I think it was like a 300mm equivalent. And yeah, I like it. I like the light and I like the sea spray, and the set of stairs look pretty cool. And a bit of the shine off the water I liked as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about it a bit later as we go on. But we were quite lucky with the conditions we got, I think. I mean, you can always want for more, but I think we got quite lucky considering we had a set date to do this.
Yes.
The conditions that we got were quite good, I think. Ask me about my background, Cameron.
Hey, Brendan, what's your background all
My
about?
background is just down the coast from where your background's taken.
Right,
And
looks
of course,
familiar.
this crop has ruined the photo because it's cropped off the top of the lighthouse in both the actual photo and the reflection, but that's okay.
Good job.
Yeah. So this is the Point Lonsdale Lighthouse, which has become my muse over the years. I just love going there and taking photos. And this was done the week before the Down South Photo Show workshops because I wanted to sort of scout the area out and make sure it was as good as I remember it. And it was. And just so happened to be 40 degrees and a northerly, very, very gentle northerly, which sort of kept giving me lovely reflections because it was all protected there from the blustery wind.
I must say, we visited the Point Lonsdale lighthouse on our workshop, and I was very tempted to get down there at first light the day before I went on the boat to try and get some, because I think that's a real stunning little area there. I think that's got heaps of potential for magical shots like yours there. So it's very cool. But I like all those rock pools and the reflections, and the clouds are really cool.
Yeah, it's one of those places, as you say, that and I think I mentioned this on the workshop as well, where every time I go there, it's different. You've got different conditions. The tide's always different. The swell's always different. The clouds are always different. The breeze is always, but it's such a big area to explore. And you've got the hero of the show, which is obviously the lighthouse right there, which for a man-made structure, it's pretty cool. But you've also got that big ass jetty that runs out to the right hand side as we're facing the lighthouse now, and it just comes up really well.
Isn't it cool how you go to, like, I'd never been there before ever, I don't think. But once you've been there, like you saying, oh yeah, the jetty's off to the right. Once you get to a place and you get a little bit familiar with it, I think you become more attached to it. Like, okay, oh yeah, I know where that is. The jetty's out to the right, and there's some cool rock pools around to the left, and
you definitely do. When you get your bearings, because you can show people a photo till the cows come home, but until you've stood foot in there and it becomes three-dimensional, and you can actually say, okay, and furthermore, you start to see the opportunities for photography there.
Yeah,
and it was cool to have your eyes there. I mean, I've seen a couple of the shots that you got during the workshop, and I've seen some of the workshop participants' photos as well. And I think everyone did pretty well.
I think everyone did some magical little work, and you're right. Everyone sees things differently. It's almost like compositions are compositions, but it's almost like there's no real set level to what people see. Like, I don't think you can say to someone, oh, you see better than I see. Like, everyone sees things differently, and I don't think there's no right or wrong. Yeah. And you saw that with the workshop guys as well. Like, we'd be saying, hey, this would be a good shot, or look for that reflection. And then you look at the back of the camera like, oh yeah, I wouldn't have thought about it. That's a cool angle, or that's a really cool idea to do that. So
absolutely. And I loved it because, anyway, we'll talk more about the workshop in a minute. I want to ask.
I'm going to open up another. It's hot down here today.
Yeah, so that's right. So that's why you have to drink beer.
Low carb cider.
Okay. So we know, well, you and I know what our week's been like, but you've just got yourself back to the small island.
Yes, I have arrived literally earlier this morning. So we got home about 1 o'clock after leaving from Geelong on the boat. And then for some, I don't get it. It does my head in. We have a good friend in Perth named Bevan. We all know Bevan. Mm-hmm. And he has a phrase that says, F the boat. He will never go on this boat down to Tassie ever. And I always sort of had a bit of a chuckle at him. But, yesterday and the day before when we came up, I was a little bit like F the boat, because you go through the heads and you're like, oh, there's Point Lonsdale. We are so close to Geelong. And then they head on the way all the way up through Rosebud, and then they do a big lefty and hang across the bay. It's like, just go straight to Geelong. Stop going the arse about way. So we came back, last night. We left a bit late. There was floods in Geelong the other day. So apparently that had put all the schedules back a little bit. So we got home pretty late last night. But we're back on the island. We've just had a special delivery today of a special book. So the garage is full of books. We have a book launch on tomorrow night.
Tell me more about the book launch. I'm curious. I'm sure the listeners are curious as well.
When can we get this out there? Can we get it out early?
This will go out tomorrow as you're doing your book. What time's your book launch?
5:30.
It'll go out half an hour before the book launch.
Can we put it out earlier? Can we put it out earlier?
Sure.
To see what about if we put it out at 3 o'clock?
Okay.
And so tomorrow night, so when you hear this podcast, if you're 6-7 minutes in and you've got nothing to do in Hobart, at the Wild Island Photography Gallery down at Salamanca, Tom Putt and myself are doing a book launch for our brand new book, the Cradle Mountain book, which has arrived, and it's beautiful, looks lovely. And we are doing a book launch from the Wild Island Gallery at 5:30. Come along. That's Tom's cover, that one.
I will put a link to the address in the description for you, so you can go and check that out.
That's right. So we'll be there. It'll go for an hour or so. Feel free to come on down if you're in Hobart. Pop in. It's totally free. Come along, buy a book. Tom and I will both sign it. And it should be great fun. So that's what we're doing, pretty much what we've been prepping for this week. And just really just been a nice little relaxing sort of holiday in Melbourne, and now back to the island and back into things. So,
well, going back to what you mentioned before about the floods in Geelong, this little black duck happened to be driving his family back from Swan Hill as those storms went through Geelong. We were literally in the epicenter, and so I lived in Queensland for 10 years, and I saw some rain up there. I ain't seen rain like this. This was next level, but it wasn't just that. You get a rainstorm that might last 30 seconds a minute. This lasted half an hour. It just kept on coming. And if you looked at the radar, it was just this line of storms impacting Geelong the whole time. And we were quite lucky to get through, because they closed the road not 5 minutes after we got through, because we watched the news, of course, to see the flooding. And there was literally a bus going through this section that we'd just been through, and it was floating.
Right. Amazing.
So it was pretty full on.
They do make those amphibious buses, don't they? It
became an amphibious bus without wanting to be an amphibious bus, though. That's the issue. So that was full on.
But when was that? What was the rain? Was that on what's today? Thursday? Was that Tuesday?
Tuesday. It was Tuesday. So it was Tuesday, sort of mid to late afternoon. And it was pretty full on. So just getting back to the week that we've had, I spent a couple of 2-3 days up in Swan Hill in the old stomping ground, which was fantastic, because my wife's mum still lives up there. Managed to take a few photos, so that was cool. I got a couple of cool photos. There's so much storm activity around this time of year.
There is.
I'm kind of hoping now that I've whet my appetite for photography again. I'm hoping we get some storms here through February. I've taken a couple of lightning photos, but I'm yet to get, pardon the pun, a cracker. So I'm chasing.
The good news is for you, my friend, is because you bought a new camera.
Yes.
Which is not on the running sheet, surprisingly. It should
Live
be.
comp, I think you're going to talk about.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about. You have not one of the, but you have the only best system in the world for shooting live composites for lightning. So live composite, for those that don't know, is that you set up your camera and you put it into live composite mode. For example, if Brendan's seen behind him, you set it up and it does a base exposure. So it takes a picture of that takes a frame of that shot as that exposure. And then anything that's brighter that's added to the screen, to that frame. So for example, lightning bolts gets added to that frame without anything else changing. So it just adds anything brighter per every frame. And you can set up the parameters to do all these funky things. So it's such a cool feature.
So, not on running sheet, but let's go full disclosure. I bought with my own money, paid for with Brendan money, an artist formerly known as Olympus OM5. I shot a lot of Olympus back in the day, when even before Micro Four Thirds, so even back in the 4/3 day, the old E1, E300 days. A lot of the photos in my on my website are still from the old Olympus days. Must admit, I strayed from the Olympus family and went down the path of a couple of other brands, Canon, for example, and
Nikon,
and then of course. I'm doing this overland track walk in April with the good man over here.
Yeah, sure.
And so I needed a system that was lightweight. And I was tossing up, I was mirrorless all the way. And for lightweight, but with all the features I wanted, the OM5 ticked every single box. Great little camera. So far, so good. I've taken like 18 photos with it so far, but that's all right. You got to.
Well, you're on the beach the other day when you christened it, and you made a big announcement. First frame, I've done it.
And you know what? I might even put it on the screen here. It's actually quite a nice photo, considering I shot it, what was it, 3-4 p.m. bright sun,
terrible sunlight,
terrible lighting conditions. But I was determined to make the first frame count, which is kind of weird, just because it's a new camera. Like, it's so when you buy a new 7-iron, you want to flush it, straight away. But
That never happens.
yeah, no, that's right.
Speaking of golf, no, we won't go to golf. It's not a golf show.
No, it's not.
No, it's not a golf show.
I'm back in the OM system family. How long I'll stay there, who knows? But of course, I'm lucky enough to have this guy in my corner, and he brought all the lenses down during the workshop for me to have a play with.
Actually,
so
well, I think
I need to relearn it all. Is what I'm coming from.
Yeah, we did those 4 OM days in Melbourne while I was up there. So thanks to everyone that came along to those. We did walking around the city, and we did street photography. We did some architectural and landscape photography, and I had one of the OM5s, and I coupled it with the 9-18 sort of. It's not a pro lens; it's just a little wide angle travel lens. And I tell you what, it was so much fun. I haven't had that much fun shooting in years, because you just put this little wide angle lens on this tiny little camera. You can hold it down low. You can just shoot from the hip. And I got some stunning shots, and I got a really cool shot of this pointy building that's down at the Docklands with it. So I actually think it's a cracking little camera. But
so I mean, we'll talk about this as we get closer to the walk. But in terms of what gear we're going to be taking, that'll take up a whole episode in itself. But definitely the OM5 is going to find its way to my kit. One of the main reasons I went for it as well is, and like most mirrorless cameras now, is the in camera charging.
Yes,
which is going to be paramount for what we're doing. So
absolutely.
I'm stoked to have that little camera in my kit. And if I was organised, I'd have it here on the show, but it's at the shop.
Oh,
come on, exactly where I left it.
That's right. It's probably it works there as well as it does at home.
Well, it does. It certainly does. Yeah. So no, it was great to add that little camera to my kit.
Beautiful.
So main topic. Well, we're going to backwards and forwards about the workshops that we ran, which were awesome. But the main topic is we want to talk about photographic goals for 2023, not New Year's resolutions or anything silly like that. I don't sort of do those, but it's just when you flick over to a new year. I mean, it's already late January, but we've had a bit of a hiatus from the show.
Yes.
Photographic goals for 2023. Did you want to kick us off with those, Cam? Is there something in particular you're wanting to do this year with your photography, or is that a question without notice?
It is definitely a question without notice, because we are not scripted or prepared for this show as per usual. I don't know. Like every year, I have these thoughts every year. Like, what am I going to do each year? Like obviously the workshops and stuff I do are one thing where I'm like, got to tick all those and get them all organized and stuff like that. But as a photographic goal for myself, I'm not too sure actually. Like, I have been sort of delving a bit into the AI scene, those AI programs that people have been talking about.
Yeah, I do.
And I was thinking that because you can import your own images into this computer and get it to make images out of the images you've made. So I was thinking that maybe it could be cool to try and create some super high unrealistic landscape photography, but purely out of the images I've taken alone. So that was a little bit of an idea in my back of my head as to what I might try and achieve this year. Is like I might try and get a bit more involved or a little bit more knowledge on how it all works. But I guess overall, each year I look to just take. I try and stay true to my values of sort of being a one shot frame photographer, not doing anything special. So I'll probably just still focus on that, just still trying to capture those beautiful moments in one frame. And
can I ask you a question? Is there a part of Tasmania that you're yet to photograph?
No.
Simple, done.
No, I've been asked that a few times. I reckon I'm close to have been down almost every road in Tasmania at some point or time,
which is pretty incredible, really, when you think.
Yeah, well, the West Coast, like I haven't done. It's a lie. There is one place I haven't explored that I want to, which is the Western Arthurs, which is a pretty hard hike. It's classed as one of the hardest hikes in Australia. But I don't think I'd do like it's a 15 or 16 kilometer mountain range. It takes you like 6 days to traverse the whole lot. It's really up and down. But I don't think I'd go the whole way. I reckon I might go up there and spend 4 or 5 days, but just in a relatively small section of it and have a look around. But so that might be one place I'll look at going at this year.
That's cool. But what about an area that you've been to previously, but didn't sort of, extract out of it what you might have hoped? I'm sure there'd be places.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think there's still more to be seen in the Tarkine where I go. Also, down out the back of sort of Queenstown, there's some little areas that I haven't really explored too much down there as well, which I'd like to have a look at. And probably more of the East Coast. That's one thing that these Down South Photo Show workshops really sort of kicked me in the butt and said, hey, You know, I've never really been a coastal photography. Like you and I think I'm more mountains and forest, and you're more coastal and, you know, sort of summary scenes and things like that. But I think I might try this year to do a bit more coastal stuff. And I actually think I said that last year as well, to myself. But I really enjoyed like the shots behind me and your shot there. I actually really enjoyed when the sun goes down, you get all those beautiful sort of colors and warm colors on the beaches and stuff.
Yeah, so you've been to all those locations in Tasmania, but you haven't been to all of them at every different time of the day or every different time of the year. So it's kind of infinite, isn't it? Like
it is,
you know, you can go back and visit and you know, remember a comp that you made way back when, but now go and make it in springtime light or summertime light. Or,
absolutely, and I'm really looking forward to our trip down the overland track, because I find that I challenge myself every time I go down there to shoot. Like you might be impressed, you may not be impressed, but as we're walking along, I can almost tell you every single rock, tree, river, whatever's coming up. I can sort of almost walk the track with my eyes closed. But to try and shoot differently down there for me is a real challenge. Which is why I'm really.
It would be. I mean, it's the same with me in these locations, because I've been shooting this for 17 years.
Yeah.
As I said, though, here, every time I go there, it looks different. Whereas the overland track, there's only certain, I mean, you know, if you wanted to, you could do it in the middle of winter, but there's only really certain times of the year you can do it without putting your life at risk.
Yeah.
So I can understand totally where you're coming from there in that you've got to, it's like you're playing the same album over and over again, but trying to hear different chords, you know.
Yeah. And I think that's like on this trip we've got going in April, we've got yourself, we've got a few other really nice photographers on there as well. So it's going to be interesting to sort of talk shop and take shots as we go along. But I always try and challenge myself every time I go down that track. Like, you know, I walk past this amazing gum tree, like I've already shot that like 600 times.
Yeah.
And it looks good. It looks great.
I'll bet Brendan takes a photo of that.
I bet you, it does. It comes like when you have customers down there, you're like, you'll be walking along and you'll be playing along with your walking poles and your backpack, and you'll know something amazing is coming up around the corner. You're like, okay, well, everyone's going to see it. And as soon as everyone gets, oh my God, this tree's incredible. Oh my God, the view, camera's out. So it's almost like shooting in between the gaps where everyone else is shooting. So I'm looking forward to that. But what about your goals for 2023? You've got yourself a new camera. You're going for a hike.
I think without question, it's going to be to take more photos. And you saw it the other day. When I'm out in it and in my element and where it's all happening, it does things for me. And it's very, very good for me mentally to get away from retail. I love all my customers. I love you all dearly. Thank you so much. But you know, it can be a grind sometimes. So you know, particularly taking advantage of this time of year, daylight savings, where you know that photo behind you, Cam, was done at 8:45 p.m. That's crazy, quite late in the day. So
absolutely,
you know, and we can, you know, we've got all this coastline here to explore at sunset. So I think definitely a lot more of that. And the way you've sort of upturned Tasmania and visited every nook and cranny, I want to do that with Victoria.
Yes.
And I want to get myself in a position where I'm able to do that.
Yeah.
And that is going to be tough because of the retail environment I find myself
in. Well, Victoria is a lot bigger as well than Tassie.
Well, it's twice the size of Tassie, roughly. Is it twice?
I think it's a bit more than that, maybe.
So it's a big state.
Yeah.
The thing I love about Victoria is you can get in your car and drive 4 hours in any direction and be in a completely different landscape.
Yeah, totally.
I actually think Victoria is underrated and a little bit maligned as far as states for international tourists to come to. They come to the 12 Apostles and they go home. And look, I get that. People are on time restraints, and sure, Great Barrier Reef, Uluru, all these places are fantastic. I get that. And they're bucket list. That's right. They're bucket list places. Victoria, like, as I say, if I drive west 4 hours, I'm at, you know, I can travel along the Great Ocean Road. I can do the Apostles. I can get to places like Port Fairy, Portland, nuts. If I travel northwest, I can go to Mildura, Hattah-Colquhoun National Park. I mean, blow you away. And that's on Mungo's doorstep. And then if you go directly north, the Murray Valley is untapped. There's a place there called Gunbower Island, which I am desperate to get to. It's an island on the Murray. It's flanked by the Murray River. Gunbower. It's flanked by the Murray River to the north and Gunbower Creek to the south, and it's this island.
That's in
a national park, and it's nuts. It's absolutely gorgeous. Reflections on the river, wildlife for Africa.
You know what I'm feeling a sense of putting out there, which for 2023, because the response we had from the workshops was just unprecedented. It was incredible. Yeah. People were just, I think people had a great time. The 20 people that we had were just blown away by how much fun we had.
Yeah.
And we've had a call for more and more.
Yeah.
I would love to put together something up in exactly where you're thinking, up in the Swan Hill region, up on the Murray, along that area. Yeah. Maybe it's a weekend. Maybe we go up there and it's a self-drive, self-accommodate sort of weekend, but we'll go and visit, 2 or 3 days worth of stuff and spend a long weekend up there.
Look, fantastic. I mean, it would be very, very easy to put together a 3-4 day workshop, something like that, in the Murray Valley. And, maybe perhaps starting at my old stomping ground at Swan Hill and then heading northwest and going into places like, Sea Lake, where you've got the...
Sea Lake, I remember Sea Lake.
Lake Tyrrell. That's where the big salt lake is. It's like, are you kidding me? That's a fantastic spot. Yeah. And then just north of there, Hattakolkine, Murray Sunset National Park, into Mildura, Renmark, those sort of areas. Yeah, I mean, it'd be crazy. But, last time we did an impromptu sort of thought bubble on workshops.
It went stupid. If you would like to see, what's that area? What's that area called? Is that the Murray Valley? Is that what it is?
Oh, it's the Mallee. Really?
So if you went Swan Hill to Mildura, how long's that?
Swan Hill to Mildura, if you drive, is about 2.5 hours directly.
And what's that region all through there called?
That would be known as the Northern Mallee, or
so we're putting on a Northern Mallee workshop sometime in 2023. If you would like to come along,
please hit us up below. We'll start and finish in Swan Hill, so we'll go out and do a massive loop.
Yep. Would we spend the night in Mildura then come back?
I think it'd be foolish if we didn't have a night at Sea Lake and then a night at somewhere like Hattakolkine in that area. So it could be 2-3 nights. But anyway, we'll work that out.
Here's an idea. Could we stay at Good Night?
Good Night.
It's a place. Have you seen that?
I know, and I love it because it's pronounced Good Night, not Good Night. It's Good Night.
Good night. So if you are keen to maybe come and join us, if you are keen to come and join us in 2023 for a 2 or 3 day workshop, maybe a couple of nights starting in Swan Hill, exploring all this amazing region. This is something we've just completely made up on the friggin' fly. Yeah. Let us know. We'll put.
And I'm here to tell you, and I'm very biased because I'm from the area. It's gorgeous. It's got something about it that it's flat. For one, so forget mountains and stuff, you ain't getting that. But the Murray through there, you can find some spots on the Murray there that are just absolutely stunning.
Well, I went through somehow on the way to the Flinders Ranges last year or the year before.
That's right. You went through there.
I got lost and I went through Lake Tyrrell. And I must admit, I stopped there. I'm like, geez, this place would be an absolute gold mine for photos in the right time of day.
Yeah.
Having
said that as well, I've got friends that live in that area who I am almost certain would allow us onto their big farming properties. And then you're starting to talk, farm imagery and we're talking about farms the size of Tasmania. Look, okay, not quite.
Yeah, but they are
big,
huge, aren't they?
Big properties. Manangatang is a wonderful little town, which is dotted with old buildings and anyway, we're getting off track and getting very excited about something that may not happen. But anyway,
it's funny because it's not in the running sheet and we're just talking about it. So I think, I must admit, I drove through the other year. I stopped at Lake Tyrrell and had the big sign there saying Lake Tyrrell.
That's the one.
And I went, this is cool. And then I kept driving along. But that whole region up there, I think we had a conversation about it the other day. It's screaming for.
Yeah. And
I think you're right as well. Like going back to what you're saying about Victoria and Tassie and, seeing as much as Victoria as you can. Every time I come back to Victoria now, I'm like, geez, I never went there. Like I'd lived there for 30 something years.
Yeah.
Gee, I never went there. I've never been to Point Lonsdale Lighthouse.
Yeah.
Ever. So
and look at it.
It's amazing.
It's gorgeous.
Like I spent a lot of my time up in Brighton, Mount Hotham and Mount Buffalo, and like that area is magic, but I haven't seen much of the others. So I'm with you. I think it's good to explore. Yeah. And I think we have a lot of people...
I think from a photography point of view and from definitely a workshop point of view, the high country has been done a lot.
It has, yeah.
And ironically, I've seen so little of the high country because I'm a Mallee boy and I grew up in Northwest.
Yeah.
But I would like to see more workshops done in Western Victoria. So there's an area out there called the Pink Lakes as well, which is just past Oyen.
Yep.
Oyen, PS, gets the hottest temperatures in Victoria year in, year out. It like 45s, 48 is not uncommon in Oyen at this time of year. Not that we'll be going in this time of year, but yeah.
That's at Murray Sunset, isn't it?
Murray Sunset National Park, those sort of areas. Hattakolkine is the bee's knees. So you look at you, I can see you looking at photos already and going, that looks pretty good.
Yeah. Why am I going to Lake Eyre every year? I can just go.
Well, it's a bit closer. Anyway, so as Cam said, if you would like to register some interest in coming along on a workshop in northwestern Victoria, sure.
Time out. I'll do you one better. Go. If you would like to register your interest to join us, email cam@tasphoto.com.au.
Yep.
And tell us that, hey, I'm keen, and we'll start putting some ideas together.
Definitely. Cool. We were also hinting at perhaps the Grampians as well, but that we'll just see. There's a lot. It's a big state.
A lot of walking out there.
Grampians can be a little tricky because, I mean, you do need to properly hike in.
We know there's a very important listener, David, who listens a lot, who lives out that way, and he has been screaming at me for years to come out there and do something. And I think we can put
David straight into the Northwest Victoria workshop. I think he's in.
Okay, David's in. I think Mal's in.
We've got 2 places already. Fantastic. I love it.
We'll take 2 cars. Moving on.
We digress a little bit, but it all hinged back to the fact that I said in 2023 I plan on exploring the great state of Victoria some more.
Yes.
And there are places on the Murray. So just a little side story. When I was growing up, my 2 older brothers were mad keen kayakers, and they did this thing called the Murray River Canoe Marathon every year that left the day after Boxing Day from Yarrawonga and finished in Swan Hill on New Year's Eve.
Wow.
And I saw some parts of the Murray River there. I'm talking when I'm like a teenage kid, that I still remember as being absolutely stunning and want to get back to with a camera at sunrise and at sunset. So,
so what you're saying really is these little trips are just to fulfill your childhood dreams.
Sure, why not?
That's what I'm doing.
So let's talk about the Down South Photo Show workshops that we had, Cam.
Where do we want to start?
I'll kick us off by saying it exceeded my expectations. Not that my expectations were low. I was very, very confident that it would be a success. I think the enthusiasm from those of you who came along was fan-bloody-tastic. It was lovely to meet you all and put faces to names. A couple of you already knew, but the majority I didn't.
Yes.
It was lovely for you guys to see my stomping ground and see the shop at Ocean Grove, which was excellent. Couldn't get over how busy it was in Ocean Grove, but
it was crazy.
That's what happens at this time of year.
That first day was nuts, wasn't it?
The Friday was pretty insane. People battling for a park and all that sort of stuff. But hey, we got there in the end. And I think what I enjoyed most about it was I had, with a couple of clients, I had several penny dropping moments with them.
Yep.
You know the one, Cam. It's when they look through the camera and they go, they make that sound.
Yes. That makes sense now.
Yeah. And it's like, and then all of a sudden I feel like I've opened up more possibilities for their photography. And I love that. That's very rewarding from my point of view.
Yeah, I'm the same. I had a great time the 2 days that were there. And like I said, the weather was just maybe a little bit too good that first day. I think it was a bit too sunny. The second day we had a bit more cloud and stuff coming through. But same again, there was a lot of new faces and a lot of familiar faces. And it was actually just a really lovely get together. Like it was. Take away the whole podcast idea and us running the workshops. Everyone just was there for the right reason. Everyone's there just taking a few photos. And there was definitely a lot of aha moments and people saying, oh yeah, that makes sense. And I didn't realize that, or I didn't look at that. Or there was a really good moment on the second day when you took people up on the pier and you had people shooting down the handrail with the fishermen at the end. That was really cool. It was really great. The people were lovely. The location was great.
I think aside from the basic structure that we had, where we had the locations mapped out already, the level of just how organic it was when we were at the locations, which to me sort of took our customers on a journey of, okay, if Brendan's new to a scene, this is how he breaks it down. And this is what he starts to, or if Cam's new to the area, he'll start looking for this to get these shots.
Yeah.
Now, you and I like to think we both are okay photographers. So to be able to pass on that knowledge in that way is really special.
Yeah.
So
even if the knowledge is different,
which it totally was, and we had conflicting ways of doing things several times, which customers picked up on, and I like that because there is no right way.
Yeah,
there isn't. There's a way. There's a way that suits your eye, and there's a way that suits my eye.
That's right. There's no right or wrong, and either way was working. But I think one of the highlights of the 2 days, and I think this is a highlight for you as much as it was for me, was the bloody seal in Point Lonsdale. There was a giant elephant seal that stopped traffic just as we were going between locations.
So we were going from here, like the car park is literally just behind this hill here at Lonsdale. We drove off to head further down the coast down this way, and we got just into the little town of Point Lonsdale, and there's all these police. And straight away I said to Cam, this isn't going to be good because we've got this workshop we're trying to, you know. And as that happened, one of our lovely customers got a flat tire in their car, and she was pulled over to the side.
We won't name names, Julie. I mean, we won't name who it was.
Yeah, no, we won't. And she said, "Oh, guys, I got a flat tire." And just as she said that, I've just seen this elephant seal in the middle of the freaking road.
And it was the size of a small car, this thing.
Oh, like I said, it looked like my couch had come to life.
It was huge. What were your exact words, Brendan?
Yeah, we'd have to bleep it out, and I can't be bothered bleeping because this has got to go out early tomorrow. So
yeah, true. You said,
but I've never now. Apparently, Henry, his name is
Henry, of course it
is a local. He hasn't been seen for a little while, but that's the first time he's been seen on the main road.
So, guys who are listening, go Google elephant seal Point Lonsdale.
Link in description.
Yeah, you'll see it. He was just a gigantic slug of an eel.
Made headline news.
Headline news. But anyway, poor Julie, who had a flat tire. Well, we sort of lost complete interest in helping her when we saw this seal in front of us. But yeah, getting back to the workshop. So I had a great time, and it was actually a bit sad to head off at the last one on the Saturday night because we had this beautiful shot behind me was then, and I was like, oh, okay, that's done. You know, it went so quick, and everyone had a good time. So I think, everyone on that workshop, pretty much everyone said, let's do some more and let's go again and stuff like that. So a big shout out to everyone that came on. It was great. Absolutely.
And I think what it taught me as well was I don't think it would have mattered if the conditions weren't great.
No, that's right.
I think we still would have managed, and that's landscape photography. You work with what you're given. And we had people that have traveled quite a way to be there. So, hey, if the weather was crap, the workshop was going ahead. It would, it was just... So we sort of breathed a sigh of relief that we got low tide, that we got half decent conditions. The southerly breeze was a bit of an annoyance, but whatever, it still worked.
But I actually think, I think that's one thing that people can take away from doing landscape photography is don't throw the toys out of the cot if you rock up somewhere and it's not exactly how you want it to be. Yeah. Because some of the best shots I've ever taken have been exactly that scenario where I've rocked up to somewhere, I'm like, okay, cool. Oh, you know what? It's not really working for me. But I've just worked with it, and then all of a sudden something happens, or you work to the conditions, and the wind might be too much, but it's blowing up a little bit of dust that works really well, or stuff like that. So don't get upset if you don't get the exact conditions. And we were lucky that we had a nice day, a couple of nice days, but it was great. It was good fun.
No, it certainly was. And as I say, the enthusiasm came through really strongly, and it was infectious from the people that were doing the workshop.
Yeah.
I think if we were to change any of that particular workshop, it would be that middle stop in Ocean Grove. It just unfortunately we couldn't have both things at once. We needed low tide at Lonsdale, but we needed high tide instantly at Ocean Grove, which obviously wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I think also it's a bit of a splitting hairs one because the shots at 13th Beach here were lovely. Yeah, but the shots at Point Lonsdale, where you are in the background there, would also be equally as lovely. So, like I said, you can't be in two places at once.
No. I mean that's right, but it was great. And one thing I couldn't get over was how fast it went by. Like there was a 6-hour workshop, and it was done and dusted really quick. Both days
we didn't even have time for a beer.
No, we didn't, because we would certainly not partake in alcohol while we were running a workshop.
No,
would we, Cameron?
No. That's not something we would do.
Certainly wouldn't happen. And so to those of you who are asking whether we're going to do it again, if you missed out on the original, my wordy lordy, yes indeedy, we will be doing that again for sure. Now,
are we going to kick the people out that already came along? Can you not come to another one? Or
of course you can come to another one, but I think the good news is We're already tentatively planning the June
June.
King's birthday long weekend.
Yeah, King's birthday long weekend in June
which
is
will be
looking
the Saturday and Sunday of that weekend. So,
and are we going to do the same location, or are we going to look something else?
I think we'll probably do Lonsdale definitely, because that's such a treasure trove of locations.
Yeah.
The good news being, of course, in June is it'll be completely different, and you won't get these photos. It's going to be way more dramatic in June.
I imagine you get a lot more sort of mossy and seaweedy stuff like that as well.
The cooler temperature, everything, the light's cooler, the sun's in a lot different position. Everything feels, in fact, in some ways, a little better. It's a dramatic place anyway. Of course, the other thing we're going to have to do, Cam, is kick it off around midday, because we're only going to have 5 hours of daylight. So
so we kick it off at midday. We'll make sure. Well, we'll kick it off at midday, but we'll tell customers to be there by 11.
Yeah, that's right. So we actually get the thing started on time.
Not that anyone was late. That's okay. We're all good. It was good fun, and stay tuned, folks. We got more in the works.
We're keen to get your people out and taking photos with us. So by all means, hit us up in the comments below, and we'll get another workshop or two up and running.
The tricky one is with the one-day workshop is how can you gather everyone in one central spot and see lots of cool stuff in half a day or a full day, as opposed to going, like you said, the Grampians or something like that. Those sort of locations have really got to be at least a 2-night sort of trip, because otherwise you're driving 4 hours one way, 4 hours back to go spend 5 hours with a couple of douches like us. So you want to make sure it's location wise, but stay tuned. We will we'll be in touch.
And one thing I will say is it was great to work with you, Cam.
Oh, thanks, Brandon. It was great fun with you too.
It was good. First time. Great stuff. So tip of the week. You like that?
No, I don't. Tip of the week. This is I just thought about this before, because there was a gentleman on the workshop, Michael, I think his name was Michael, who had the Sony system, Canon system, I can't remember, but he wanted to change lens because there was something going on at the Ocean Grove beach stairs, and he wanted to change the lens, and he was changing it, and I went, oh no, change, put your back to the wind, keep the camera closed, blah, blah, blah. So it made me think that, there's so many times you go on workshops, and even sometimes when you're not on a workshop, but you see other people just walking around taking photos, and it's blowing an absolute gale. There's sand, you're getting sandblasts, and they're just like holding their lens out, It's like, you got to really protect that sensor and your lens and your gear. So if you are in a windy location or a sandy, beachy, dusty location, the easiest way I do it is I turn my back to the wind, and I try and create like a bit of a cover with my body, and try and do it close to my body as quick as I can. But if you can help it, don't change lenses on the beach or at dusty roads or dusty locations, because you're going to get dust in your sensor. It's going to hurt your camera. It's going to cause issues. And then you're going to get Brendan to clean it for, what was the sensor clean? $49?
$49 for a sensor clean. That's correct.
Or a full clean was $199 or
something? Full clean including sensor, $99.
$99. There you go. Did you get that sorted? That lady came in?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to your staff member Rachel. She had fun on the
Rachel
workshop.
Came along on the Saturday workshop.
She did, yes.
And told me the next day that she loved it. She was that's right. Yeah, I quit. I'm becoming a professional landscape photographer. She totally was enthralled by it. Cool. Had no idea about things like aperture priority that we were playing around with a lot. So she loved that. Yeah. And also the composition stuff she really enjoyed. So nice. Whether she was making it up or not, she sounded like she had a great time. So that was great.
Yeah, it was good. And she did a lot of stock photography or product photography, I think she said.
She's a product photographer, but as part of I think she's doing a photography degree, and a part of a section of that is landscape.
Yeah, right.
And she was battling a lot with landscape, so hopefully we've given her a few pointers to steer her in the right direction. That's for sure.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good to see people come along who are a little bit out of their comfort zone in regards to what genre they shoot. So
absolutely. Just a brief little aside, 2023, do you know what 2023 is going to bring gear wise, Cam? Like what's happening in the photograph? I mean, it seems to have reached a bit of a status quo, hasn't it? Like
I can tell you now, this is what's going to happen, right?
Okay.
Nikon are going to release a bucket of shit camera that's miles behind everyone else, because they've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
Canon are going to release another one of the mirrorless systems. It's probably going to have more megapixels or something like that. It'll do exactly the same as their last camera, but they'll release another one. Sony will do the same thing, but they'll just come up with a catchy R7 8 or something like that. OM Systems, I don't think will release any new cameras. Fuji
will release a new lens.
They will release a new lens. Yes, I can tell you now there is a new macro lens coming out. I think Fuji might not release too much. They got their medium format cameras. There might be an update on one of those, maybe. What else we got? Panasonic. No one cares. Pentax. No one cares. But yeah, I don't like that. I can't. Yeah, I think you're right. We've hit a bit of a threshold.
There's one reason why I definitely care about what Panasonic are up to, and that is the fact that their lenses fit my new camera.
They do. That's right. They do. So, but I don't know. I think you're right. I think we've sort of hit. I think if anything, it's just going to be sensor megapixel resolution going up. We're getting as high as 60 megapixel now on full frame. Whether or not they can squeeze more out of that, I don't know. There's probably going to be a bit more of the AI stuff coming in.
Now, this is where I was going to go. I think what I'm hungry for is not necessarily more resolution, but better resolution. In other words, using the sensors they've got, but then using computational photography. So things like noise reduction, which we know that there's software out there that is very, very good. It's still pretty flawed though. I'm trying to think. Gigapixel is the software that I've been using for a while. It's good, but it ain't great. I'm looking for things to improve their, as you mentioned earlier with AI technology. I think that's going to help a lot. It can be a bit hit and miss where it's sort of guessing what it thinks should be in that pixel, whereas I think the artificial intelligence will sort of be a lot better at it. The AI systems will be a lot better at it. And to that end, and you know that I probably took more photos with my iPhone during that workshop than I did with an actual camera. Now, that was purely because I'm helping other people with their real cameras, in air quotes. So I'm just snapping away, taking things for social media and that sort of stuff. You go.
No. I was going to say, I was going to say, talking about your gigapixels and your noise resolutions and getting better. What'd you say? Not more resolution, but better resolution.
Better resolution.
I will push this back because in the last few months I've had a few discussions with people online and seen a few things. I don't think it makes absolutely any difference to what new technology comes out to, I'm going to say 98% of photographers shooting these days. So more megapixels means nothing. More AI means nothing. More noise reduction means nothing. More frames per second means nothing. All that means nothing if you were just going to put it on social media.
Yeah.
So I saw a gentleman the other day who put up a photo from down here in Tassie, and there was a question about the noise and the resolution of it. And really, it wouldn't have made any difference whether it was a noisy image or a non-noisy image because it was put on social media at a low resolution. You can't tell anyway.
It was on Instagram.
Yeah, all these new technologies coming out to AI and the resolution, unless you're printing stuff out, I'll beat the dead horse. Unless you're going to print stuff out or do something with your images where you need to sell them to companies or something like that, you can be shooting with your iPhone. You won't notice any difference. So,
which is probably why I'm angling more towards a need to improve the AI technology. And the reason I say that is because being in photographic retail, where I'm printing a lot of photos for people, the amount of times I will get a really bad quality image.
Yeah.
Two reasons. One, it's been shot on someone else's phone and they've sent it to their phone and they've sent it to their phone and it just gets down-resed each time and compressed and all that sort of stuff. So I'm probably got a hankering for that sort of stuff naturally so that I can extract a better quality image to put on someone's wall.
Yeah.
Which then has the knock-on effect that, the photos that I take can actually be improved. Now, that could come from the fact that I'm sort of keen on full frame resolution versus micro four thirds, but I prefer micro four thirds because it's more compact and I enjoy shooting on micro four thirds.
Yes.
So I want a sort of a foot in both camps, if you like.
Yeah. I think there's a like a bit of a FOMO with that as well. Like, and I find I do it myself. So as you know, I'm a bit of a camera whore. I collect all different types of things. So I had the GFX 100 megapixel medium format camera for a while. and amazing camera, super heavy, but beautiful detail out of the camera. And I found myself when I was editing files, I'm like, geez, these files are really nice. Look at the detail. I'd zoom in. Geez, you can actually, you can see the eyebrows on the person in the background of your photo there. It was incredible. But unless I was printing them at a decent size, there was absolutely no benefit to that megapixel in 95% of what I was doing. 100%. So I find the same. Like I've got this beautiful little Leica that I had, and I've got my Olympus OM1. The OM1's a 20 megapixel camera. The Fuji is 100 megapixel. The Leica is a 60 megapixel. I still enjoy shooting on the 20 megapixel camera because it's just easier to use. It's lightweight. It's enjoyable to use. And unless I'm doing something massive print-wise, it makes absolutely no difference to the output of the image.
Okay, let alone the file size.
The file size,
manageable out of a smaller system. So I get that.
But I get how people like talking about 2023 and what it's going to bring. Guaranteed, something's going to come out this year that's got more megapixel and more more bang for its buck. You need to sit there as a photographer and say to yourself, do I need to go from 40 megapixel to 60 megapixel? Or do I need to go from 20 to 60? And you need to work your way back. You need to like reverse engineer it. Am I printing heaps of stuff? Then you've got a case to maybe buy more megapixels. But if you're not, people always come up to me and say, oh, but I can crop heavier with more megapixels. Get your hand off it, because all you need to do is just change. All you need to do is just change the lens. Like crop optically, don't crop with you're losing resolution anyway. Yeah. So my advice to people in regards to gear this year is don't feel like you need to upgrade your gear because you might get 10 million more megapixels out of a shot. I don't think there's any benefit to that at all. I think you're right. Like if there's more composite modes or more AI involved, or if there's something, if the sensor is 10 times faster at writing photos or things like that, then maybe you've got a case to upgrade. But I think these days
it's funny, isn't it? In the mad scramble for resolution and for better quality images in terms of sharpness and pure resolution, I think what gets overlooked is the ability for a camera to capture true and accurate color.
Yep.
Now, totally. I've always found it was my own money, people, that I spent with Olympus, by the way. I've always found the Olympus sensor to be very, very good with color accuracy. I can look at that photo over Cam's shoulder there, and that takes me back because I saw that very scene with my own two eyes, and those colors are very, very accurate to what I saw when I was stood there. And that's underrated in my opinion. I color accuracy is really, really important.
And it's funny you did say that, because I think with one of the customers on the workshop, whether or not it was on our one or the Olympus ones I was doing, I'm not too sure, but we started talking about color and which cameras, someone sort of said, but every camera does the same thing. I'm like, well, they don't. Fuji and Olympus generally do better greens and blues. I find Canons and Leicas and Nikons do better reds and yellows and things like that. They have more skin tony sort of color to them. But I'm like, hand on heart, I would say that the Olympus files, I very rarely have to adjust color at all. Out of camera, it just looks like I saw it. And I find with the Leica I use, I'm always playing around with the color temperature a bit much and playing around with some of the color channels a bit more. So, who knows
having said all that, that photo there is
an iPhone one.
No, that's actually that's shot with my Canon. So and the color accuracy there is very, very good. I was quite happy with that.
I've just realized you got camera and photo, your little stamp in there too.
Because I would have used that as a social media thing. So I like to put that there just to see who's sharing stuff around without asking me.
Like photo comps on the Bellarine Peninsula.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a little bit of housekeeping. Thanks, Cam. Good episode. A little bit of housekeeping. Dear Cam, we want to keep that going. If you have a question for Dear Cam for 2023, please send us a link below, send us a comment below, or send us an email or whatever. And if you've got a question that you're finding it difficult to find the answer to by using Dr. Google, ask Cameron.
Photography
preferably.
I've got this rash and I can't get rid of it. I don't know about
it. So Dear Cam's going to live on in 2023, as is the Down South photo show. So we're back, bigger than ever for 2023. As we said, 66 episodes old, which is pretty cool. And if we do one a week, we'll hit 100 episodes this year. We will. We'll hit 100 episodes in about September, October. Yeah.
Right. Wow.
Maybe when we're doing our Northern Victorian workshops.
Mate, that is already happening. I can tell you now.
Yeah, I can sort of feel it in my waters that's going to happen.
We don't need many people. If we can hire 2 cars, 2 4-wheel drives, and fit 3 in each. So 6 people is all we need.
You know what's going to work for you very, very well? You're gonna do the Northwestern Victorian workshop, and that is going to roll straight into BFOP.
Oh yes, that could work. I could just
you're going to see. That's right.
Yeah, good.
Which is in BFOP is in October.
Yes,
mid October there.
Early October.
There you go. Okay.
So we'll put it out there.
So maybe it's BFOP into the Northwestern Victorian workshop, or the other way around.
Other way around, yeah. But save your pennies, folks, because we don't come cheap anymore.
I guarantee you, it won't be on the last weekend in September.
No, neither will Melbourne,
because I will be busy
watching someone else play footy.
Okay, right. I'm putting it on official record that you will see my team play in the grand final this year.
Really?
Oh, mate. Really? Take it to the absolute bank.
Nah,
and I will replay this in September. Either way,
Geelong back to back this year for me. Unfortunately, as much as I hate Geelong. Hey, we didn't talk about golf in this episode, did we?
Okay, come on, let's do it.
Did you have a golf tournament at all for your 50th?
For those of you who may have picked this up through the workshop, through the podcast,
you talk. I'll go grab something.
I've been running a golf day for 17 straight years, which I'm very proud of. It's called the Brendan Waits Photography Golf Classic. And my learned colleague here has been on the I think you've had 13, 14 attempts at it. Is that right?
That sounds about right. Look how good this looks.
At winning like a glove. That very jacket, which is also, well, it's way more than 17 years old. It's got the logo on the front, and it's got the names of every winner on the back, which Cam now gets to add his own name to. So I was proud of the little guy. He did really well. He played very, very well. It also happened to coincide with my 50th birthday this year. So it sort of, the party rolled on. It was a big, big, big weekend. So I don't of you, Cam, for winning the jacket.
Thank you,
mate. You're right. It fits you actually quite well. I think you need to wear that on every episode from here on until you have to give it back.
So that'll be 2024.
That's right.
2025, maybe. That does feel well, but yeah, it was a great day.
You're going back to back, are you?
Oh, I don't know. I've got a funny feeling I might keep that on record.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it was a great day. This is actually, I reckon this is exactly my size, whatever it is, or something regular.
It seems to be everyone's size. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, it does. Because there's been a lot of different people wear it, hasn't it?
Most people who put it on go, this fits really well.
Yeah. But it was a great day, and it was like I don't win tournaments unless it's on a big milestone birthday.
Oh no, this was a big one. This was a big one to win.
But,
so congratulations again.
But we're not a golf show, so that's okay.
No, we're not. But congratulations again. If you would like to send your congratulations to Cam, do it somewhere else. Don't do it here.
No, comments down below. Come
on. Cam, are you done for episode 66?
How can we possibly top this?
Seriously? No, you can't. No. Thank you to everyone for listening to the Down South Photo Show. This has been episode 66. Cam, thank you.
Thanks, mate. Thanks. Looking forward to 2023.
Absolutely.
Bring it on.
Absolutely. We will see you for episode 67 in a week's time. Bye for now.
Bye.
Nice.
Fits like a glove, this thing. Look at it. It doesn't even does up. Look, it's perfect.
Oh, mate, it's brilliant.